the ways to represent real numbers was self-builder notation. Self-builder notation is the one that we just did here. This is the self-builder notation. And then self-builder notation, it works with almost all of them. It works with real numbers. It works with integers. So this one here, it's a self-builder notation, this one. This one, self-builder notation. Now, this one here, at here, your number line. So you present it with a number line, this one. And then from there onwards, we have this other one, which is representing using interval notation. Look at this one then. What is the difference between interval notation and self-builder notation? Now, with interval notations, it is another way to represent real numbers. Interval notations may not be used. It may only be used for real numbers. It doesn't work for natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, and rational numbers. It only works. Interval notations only works for real numbers. So we can't use interval notation to represent your integers. Your integers cannot be represented with an interval notation. Remember, we started with real number. We started with integers, and then whole numbers, we represented them. So we can use the self-builder notation for that one. Now, another way is this one here. This one here, it's what we call an interval notation. Interval notation works with real numbers, but it does not. We can't use it for integers. We can't use it for whole numbers and natural numbers. Now, if you look at this thing here, exactly the same thing here. We're going to be describing this in weights. Now, I'm going to introduce something new. Yes. So, what do we have here? This is an interval notation. What does it mean? As you can see here, you have two types of brackets there. Those brackets, they mean something mathematical. Just like I just told you, Manja, with math, this thing here and this thing here, they represent two different things. Okay? We said, what does this represent? We said this one represents greater or equals to, okay? So it means less or equals to. Remember that again. And then what does this represent? Greater. It's fine, okay? Now, we're going to introduce the brackets then. The brackets here, these brackets, they can be fitted here. If you see a curved bracket like this one, it represents this part here. So if I put a bracket like this one, it represents greater than and less than. It's not less or equals to. And then we have this other bracket here, which is a square bracket. You see this bracket here? So this bracket here is represented this side. So if I say greater or equals to, I'm going to use a square bracket. If I say greater than only, I'm going to use a curved bracket. Now, I'm going to take this example and tell you what is represented and describe these things in weights. What does this represent then in weights? This says that this part here. This one here, if I were to describe it in weights, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for real numbers. Remember, we can't, when we use interval notation, we can't talk about integers. Okay? We can't talk about whole numbers. It's only real numbers that are going to be represented there. So what does this mean in weight? This one, it means that you have real numbers that are greater than. They are greater than -2. But they are less or equals to 4. Does it make sense? Remember, this curved bracket, it only represents greater than, okay? And then here, you are saying, in other words, you want values that are going to be between. These are values between -2 and 1 and 4. -2, it's not included, but 4 is included. So if this thing is represented in a number, so that you see what I'm talking about here. So what do you have here? You have -2 of it. -2. Look at this. So you have your -2. You have your -1. 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we have 1, 4. Now, what does this thing represent here? It's an interval notation. It's another way to represent real numbers. So if I give you from -2 and 4, I want values that are going to be between -2 and 1 and 4. The only difference is the brackets that you see there. The brackets can either say we are including -2 or we are not including -2. Now, what did I say about the brackets? We have two types of brackets. We have the curved bracket, this one here. This one here, it represents greater than, less than. That's the only thing that it represents. And then we have this type of bracket, which is a curved bracket. What does this represent? It represents greater or equals to. It also represents what? Less than equals to. Are we together then? So what are we looking for, Tina? We're looking for values between -2 and 1 and 4. So let's come to -2 here. What are we going to put here? Are we going to put the shaded dot or the hollow dot? Which one are we going to use here? We are going to use the hollow dot here. And then what are we going to put here? A shaded dot. And then you do it exactly like the one here before. Are we good? Okay, we're going to do your